The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Nice to have you here. We have Brian, Karina, and PC. Today, welcome to Property Method. We are doing this live recording of the training of Module 2, how to set your investment objectives. My name is Casey Lau, and we have our master trainer here, Dr. Ong KL from Singapore. Welcome, Dr. Ong.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. This is Module 2 for our real estate investment course. I'm Dr. Ong. So I think let's don't waste any more time. Let's start the content for this module. In Module 1, I think we have shown you that real estate investment has 5 different advantages over other types of investment. In this module, we are going to show you how to set your investment objectives or investment goals. We will share with you a step-by-step method to set investment objectives, which will become a very trustworthy guidance to you along the way of your investment journey for many years to come. But first thing first, let's ask ourselves, what does it mean by an investment objective or investment goal? And why is it so important? Okay, one of the very common investment goals that everyone has is to be financially secure or free when we retire. Some may even wish to retire before their retirement age. And financial freedom also means that we can live our life with an expected standard of living with no worry about our financial status. And in a much simpler words, when we are financially free, we consider that we can live a life that has no worry to look for money. But there's a more specific question here. How much money will we need for our retirement? And how much time do we need to achieve that financial freedom? Answers to these questions are very individual, but no need to worry. You'll find your answers by the time you finish this module. Now let's look again at the questions that just now. Why is it so important to have investment objectives or investment goals? Why don't we immediately teach you how to spot for good investment property and then start to earn money from real estate? Well, the answer is because we hope that we not only want you to earn more money from real estate, we also want you to be successful in achieving your financial freedom. So the keyword here is success. To be able to reach your financial freedom successfully. So when we talk about success, we always hear people say that the key to success is to do things right at the first time. And our ancestors call us a golden rule also. A good beginning or a good starting point is equivalent to almost halfway to success. So setting an objective or goal for our investment is very important. This goal will give us an idea of how fast and how hard can it be for us to achieve our financial freedom from our investment. Of course, we can always review and adjust our goal according to the changing environment and our preference from time to time. But the key point here is we must define one target, one goal in the first place. Otherwise, we will be lost easily in a fast-changing environment. Once we have a goal, we try all our means to stick to it, no matter how people influence us or how the environment changes. Just like no matter how the wind blows or how our friends laugh at us in the soccer field, we always aim to shoot our soccer ball into the same goal. And this prevents us from making a lot of unnecessary and reckless mistakes. For example, questions like, should I buy more properties now because everybody says that the price will go up further, even though I have already overstretched my finance? Or should I sell all my properties now? Because now everybody says that the market is going down, even though all these properties of mine are generating cash flow to me. So all these kind of contradicting or distracting situations, if we have no investment objective and the discipline to stick to it, it will be very difficult for us to make a decision when we come to this kind of situations. And so how do we start? Okay, before we go to the step-by-step method that we're going to share later about how to set our investment objective, let's look again at one of the major concerns of most people even before they start investing in real estate. So this concern most of the people before they start is as we mentioned in the video of module 1. Other than the factor of liquidity in the real estate, most people worry that they don't have enough capital to start investing in the real estate because common knowledge tells us that real estate investment needs a lot of capital since it involves a big amount of money. But in reality, we don't need to worry about that so much. Why? Because we have to always remind ourselves that we always have to remember that we don't always have to start out big. If we use the techniques that we outline in this course, we will be able to build a huge portfolio in real estate over time, safely and progressively. We are using the principle that inflation is now working for us instead of against us. When the price go up, majority of the prices go up, so do our passive income, such as rental income. And when our rents are able to increase, the value of our real estate also will be able to increase. We are simply working on the principle that after many years, we can expect our invested capital to double a few times in value. And it does not matter how small we start, no matter how small the capital we have. This principle always applies in real estate and will remain the same. It just matter how fast and how slow. Let me tell you one story to show how powerful this principle of doubling in value is. Okay. There was a rich man who hired a young boy to do some work for him for 1 month. He offered the boy $25 a day, but the boy said, I tell you what, I'll work for you for 1 month, but for the first day, I will just get 1 cent from you. The second day, my pay is double, 2 cents. And the third day is double again to become 4 cents. So you pay me on the same basis for 30 days, doubling my previous day's pay each day. The rich man thought this sounded like a very good bargain and employed the young boy. And can you estimate how much the rich man had to pay the boy after 1 month?
I guess this will be very substantial.
Yes, it's more than substantial.
So it's 5 million. Wow, 29.
Yeah, it was more than 5 million just for 1 single cent, and double every day for 29 times after 30 days. Of course, we don't expect our property can double 29 times and turn every single cent that we invested 5 million times bigger. Okay. The simple step-by-step method that we are going to share with you later will help us to estimate how many times we need to double our investment before we can achieve our investment goal or our retirement. This what we want to tell you here is this basic principle of pyramiding, or we call or doubling our investment every few years time in real estate, is the key principle that helps us to reach our investment goals through real estate investment. And that's why we are not worried even if we start out small in real estate investment. And don't forget that even though our initial investment may be a small one, with our cash earnings from the real estate increase, we can add it to our initial investment. In 5 or 10 years' time, for example, we will soon have accumulated enough or extra capital for us to invest further. And if we combine this extra capital with our original investment, which our original investment has already been appreciated, we can end up buying a larger or more properties. The cash we earn from real estate will accumulate quite fast and offer us additional investment funds. And we can take these funds out every few years and use them to increase our real estate holdings. So this shows that if you are not able to start out big, but given enough time and patience, step by step, we are still able to achieve our investment goals or financial freedom from our real estate investment. Now
So the concept is quite simple. So that means if you start up small, we have one property, and then probably 2 to 3 years down the road you double it, and then the property price also double. So just by doubling a couple of times, then it will meet our investment objective. That is
let's go. Yes. Later later we'll use an example to show in the simple 6 method that we're going to share with you. We use a case study example to show you how all these numbers will work out and how realistic it can be, all these numbers in our individual case. Okay, so now let's look at the simple 6-step method to set our investment goals. Okay, this method has 6 easy steps. So at a glance, this method is based on our existing financial situation and take all our financial goals and obligations into consideration, plus the capital available to us now, and the time frame that we expect before our retirement. This method projects the amount of money that we need every year during our retirement life and the required performance from our investment to achieve that. As I mentioned earlier, this required performance from our investment means that it's an estimation of how many times of double we expect from our investment. And it can be translated in terms of number of years. So now let's look at each individual step with some example. As a starting point, we need to analyze our present financial situation. This is the first step. So to analyze our present financial situation, first we have to prepare a balance sheet. It look like a budget showing where our present income is going. For example, we use our income to pay rent or mortgage repayment, utilities, food, cars, transport, medical, insurance, premium, etc., etc. So if you are not in the habit of budgeting your income, you may be shocked to discover just how much you are spending for some items, especially those non-fixed ones like food, entertainment. Our purpose here is to determine where we can accumulate our investment capital. But no need to worry about where you are going to find this investment capital at this point. Sources of funds will be these. Sources of funds, sources of capitals. This topic we will discuss in the next module in detail. And if you are older enough, you probably already have funds set aside or invested for future use already. So next, we make a list where our investment funds are already placed. So we have to include like our home, including the equity in our home based on the current market value, not what we bought. Then some like our savings, stocks, bond or securities, life insurance, and other like real estate. All should be included also. And in fact, if we are preparing a personal finance statement, whether we end up investing in real estate or not, we should review our financial situation on a regular basis, especially after any major change in our position, such as the purchase or sale of any preceding investment. And our outstanding debts are also taken into consideration on this statement. So the bottom line will give us our total net worth. If you are not already doing this kind of cash flow and net worth statement, you can download a spreadsheet from the page of this module as a guide for you to get started. So now let's look at the second step. What are our financial goals or obligations prior to retirement? Financial goals or obligations prior to retirement are our next consideration, and these steps and the following steps, step 5, are the most difficult to accurately estimate. So we have to really have an idea to project or to able to, we are not using the word foresee, we are able to estimate what is going to be our future possible or potential expenses in our life. So here we make another list. We have to outline the major expenses that we expect to incur prior to our retirement. Of course, it is not possible to predict everything that may happen, but we probably already know most of our expenses in the time to come. And keep in mind that we can probably expect at least the cost of living to increase in our salary, our fixed pay during our remaining working years. For example, an estimation of 8% annual increment. Okay, 8%. If based on 8% annual increment in our pay, it will probably double our present income in 9 years' time, and it will become triple in 15 years' time. So our living expenses, in the same way, will also be increasing proportionately. So any funds that we can accumulate above our living expenses will also grow accordingly. So this is where we get ahead of the game and can accumulate extra cash or capital for future major expenses or investment. So let's use an example. If you are able to save 2,000 ringgit in a year above your living expenses this year, and your salary increment is 8% by next year, you should have 2,160 ringgit extra cash by next year. So this is based on an 8% increment. And to further explain the details how these first two steps are performed, so let's use a family with 2 kids as an example, and we run through all the numbers together. Okay. So let's say we have a family, the father, James, 35 years old, the mother, Jean, 34 years old. They have 2 children, Joanne, age of 12, and Joe, age of 10. So we're going to use them to illustrate how our 6-step method works. Later on, we will see how they can use this method to build a real estate investment program. James is 25 years old, and we assume that he's employed as an executive with a local company. So his present take-home pay after the tax and after EPF, let's assume that ringgit 33,000 a year. So his first step in determining his financial future was to prepare a current income and expense statement, like just now what we have shown, for his family situation. And the statements will look like this table. So the next. Okay. So we notice that the net income, which is the take-home pay after tax, after EPF, 33,000. This is on one annual basis. Okay, for the entire year. Then the mortgage repayment for their home, 8,400. Utilities, 3,500. Food, 4,900. Entertainment, 1,900, and so on and so on. So the total expenses, 30,500.
So this is part of the step 1, right? Step 1 is to identify your current financial situation. This chart is the cash flow table, right? That means
not yet. This is the present financial situation.
Okay.
This is just income and expenses.
Income and expenses, yes, and the remaining
Yeah.
savings.
And the,
Okay.
yeah, the remaining saving. Of course, we can say that the remaining this savings, you can see that after the budget all the living expenses, including unexpected items, is able to save 2,500 for future investment. Okay, 2,500. So this if you compare to the previous the cash flow statement, because cash flow statement we put income on the left, then expenses on top, then at the bottom is the so-called the cash flow or the savings. So these tables is the, you can say that it's in the more details list of the present financial situation. Of course, from here we can summarize the cash flow statement from here, which is if we just take the total net income 33,000, total expenses 30,500, and the savings of 2,500. So this should be a summary of the cash flow statement for James' family. And James, okay, knows that he can expect to receive an annual salary increase at least equal to the increase in cost of living. So here, let's say that he estimate it will get an average of 5% a year. Okay, so if we based on that 5%, so next year his income, his cash flow statement will look like this. So you can expect an increment of 5% to the total income, which will now become 34,650, and the expense that for next year due to the inflation he has to factor in also. So here he assumes it's a 5% of inflation cost, so the total expenses will be 4% more, or now 32,025 ringgit. And the difference again between this income and expense will become the savings. Yeah, the savings, or we call it the cash flow for the year.
Okay.
So now become 2,625, an increment of 125 ringgit compared to last year. Okay. So this may not sound like very much, okay, but in 10 years time, let's look again. Okay, based on the same increment in salary and same increment in the rate of inflation, in 10 years time, his take-home pay will be now 53,754 ringgit, and his expenses also will go up to 49,681 ringgit, and give him a cash reserve. Now, after 10 years, is more than 4,000 ringgit. So as you can see, each year he should be able to save more to offset some of the expected major expenses that he will incur. So now let's look at the financial obligations. This is in step 2. So now let's look at some financial obligations that James is expecting. So he made a list of like in the table. So he has spread these major items over 25-year period, because he expects to continue to work until 60 years old. So in his plan that he think that he will be able to retire, or he planned to retire by age of 60 years old. So some items such as you can see from this table, the college, the education fee are pretty much predictable for the children. For some are quite flexible, depending on individual financial situation. For example, such as a new car, or refurbish his house, or even his daughter's wedding. So the total so-called projected financial obligations for 25 years, you can see total is 145,000 ringgit here. And where is this 145,000 ringgit coming from? So it's from the saving that he is putting away each year. So let's look at the savings. After 25 years, with all the so-called the increment that we expect to be consistent over the 25 years. The total saving after 25 years for James will be about 182,000 ringgit. So since his initial savings of first year 2,500 increase every 5% each year due to salary increment, and we assume that the savings that he has every year he put in the bank and enjoy a constant 3% interest rate from the bank. And with the compound interest and the accumulated savings by end of the year or 25 years, he gets this total of 182,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see that he will have no problem to meet his anticipated major expenses, which will be 145,000 after 25 years, the total cash required. But this will take him down the road 25 years to his retirement years. And after his major expenses of 145,000, during that period of time, he will be left with just 37,760. Yeah, 37,000 ringgit.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that he has, which is hardly enough for him to live on for the rest of his life after age of 60. Okay, so here up to here is we complete the step 2, which include the financial obligations up to 25 years.
Yeah, Dr. Ong, may I
James
add
Henry.
this one because I can see that the money when it is needed it was at a different time frame. That means like for when Joanne one is like 6 years, you have to have that money for during that time, and this one 8 years, and probably
Yes.
only the new cars is estimated over 20 years. So if we discount all the money to the present value, I guess 182,000 might not even enough to pay all of this, because this were this, let's say just 6 years 35,000 is maybe equals to like
Yes.
70,000 at
Yes.
25 years. So
Yes,
this is
it
a
all
very
depends on
yeah
conservative estimation.
yes
It all depends on the so-called the inflation rate, how fast the prices of goods and products around us going up.
yes
So it may be not enough. So at this point of time, we just use this example as just to show the numbers, how to work out all the numbers and how to include this so-called our own financial obligations. So to be more accurate for individual case, we have to factor in more things.
Yeah, in
If
fact-
it is possible. Yeah.
In fact, if you go through the certified financial planning course or RFP, you spend a few thousand ringgit. Actually, you are learning all this lah. How to use a financial calculator to discount the figure. But we don't intend to confuse you on this matter. So I guess this is very good already. It's good enough to just to do a simple estimation of
Rough,
how much money.
yes.
Yeah, roughly. So this is the
A rough
purpose of
estimation,
this.
I think it will be a rough estimation. I think it will be quite shocking to ourselves already.
Yeah, that's true.
Even with
Dr. Ong, I think
those
I lost you
will
for a
be
while
quite
just now.
shocking. Hello.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're back. Okay, you're back. Okay.
Okay.
good.
Okay. Now let's look again the cash flow statement. The analysis so far, the two steps that we perform. James have 2,500 ringgit in excess income that the entire family can put into a saving account at the end of the year. Okay, I mean the present situation. If you can save more than James, you can save more, so much the better. You'll be
Yeah.
ahead of the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if we need every dollar we earn at the present time just to make ends meet and just to stay ahead of the bills? I think this is quite common in recent days.
Yeah.
Okay, and we can see the people around us, our friends, our relatives. Most of them, they are just struggling to meet their daily ends, to meet their just monthly bills, all the necessities in their life they require. So they hardly have maybe have enough savings at all. And here, this is the reason why we started this method. When we set the investment goals, we started this by preparing a budget. From the budget, we can determine exactly how we are spending our money. Before we are able to change the way we spend our money, we have to know currently how we spend our money. So some items, after we look through the shocking cash flow statement or present financial situation, some of the items we may have to reconsider to cut down or in order for us to save more money. But no matter how much or how little we earn, okay, our future financial security is all depends on our saving. And even a small amount that we save on a regular basis can become a sizable sum in future. The important thing here is what we want to highlight.
Saving one.
Yeah, is it why the reason that we started to prepare a budget?
Yes.
Yeah, based on James' case, okay, the reason why we have to start by preparing a budget for these 6 methods when we determine our investment goals, we have to have this idea of our present financial situations. So through the cash flow statement into the details, we are able to determine how we are spending our money. For the time being, what we are spending on certain items that we are able to cut down, or how are we able to manage our cash flow based on our present financial situation, so that we are able to save more, or we are able to save faster to meet our financial goals. But no matter how much or how little we earn, as I said just now, our future financial security depends on our savings from a portion of our income. So even a small amount that we save on a regular basis, it can become a big amount in future. So the important thing here we want to highlight is to do it, and do it every month, save it every month. So once we get a reasonable sum built up, don't blow it on an expensive trip. Okay, invest it in the real estate. Like we highlighted again and again in our previous video in module 1. Savers are still losers because of the presence of inflation. So once you have a certain amount of savings, don't blow it away on some expensive expenses. Invest it in real estate. Otherwise, it will be just like what James has shown to us in his previous cash flow statement. So now let's go to step 3. So as a third step, we should determine how much cash we have available for investment purposes. So come to this point, you may want to go through module 3, okay, for different sources of capital available to us before trying to determine this. Because in module 3, we will discuss extensively those available sources of capital for us to invest in real estate. Some may not even some we may not even think of it before that. So here we still use James as an example for now. So let's assume that he found that he has 50,000 ringgit from the refinancing of his existing home to invest in real estate. So now let's move forward to step 4. So step 4, we come to the point we have to decide number of years until we intend to live off our investment. So for James' case, so he decided he wants to be able to retire when he's 16 years old, we mentioned earlier, or in 25 years time. So this means that he has 25 years to save and properly invest his excess income for the use of his retirement life. So then this brings us to number 5, step 5. So once you decided the number of years you want to until you intend to live off your investment, then we are able to use this to determine the annual income you will need after the retirement. So this means that how much money do we need for a retirement life? The most important thing here is the effect of inflation on our future investments and expenses. In the case of James, the first thing he does is to determine which of his present expenses will be eliminated when he retires. So I think we can do the same thing like him also. So when we are going to retire, so some of our expenses we can so-called just forgo. So he using James' example, he prepares a revised expenses statement look like this. So it's still based on today's cost. So probably he's able to eliminate the following from his list, like the mortgage repayment. In 25 years, he expects his house will be paid for entirely, and he is able to reduce the food and the clothing cost because the children are already independent, being retired. He and his wife may not need so much cost on all these expenses, and he expects he needs now 33,500 ringgit a year for expenses. So this also includes the 5,000 yearly travel expenses.
So this is after retirement.
Yes, after retirement.
After retirement, okay.
Yeah, revised expenses for the retirement life. So he now can expect he can go travel freely with his wife. They can come and go as they please. So this 33,500 is based on today's money. Okay. So let's factor in the inflation. So now here we factor in the inflation at 5% a year for the next 25 years. So then every 5 years, all the expenses will be increased by 5%. So with this factor, we'll see that they will need an unbelievable here 80,000 ringgit a year. So based on what we factor after we factor the inflation's rate. So to do what they can do now this year for 33,500 ringgit a year, after 25 years with the effect of inflation, he will need 80,000 ringgit to do the same things that he is able to do now. And so James must build his present investment into one that will be able to pay him 80,000 every year after 25 years from now. So how does he going to do? Make it. So let's look at the next slide. If he expect his real estate investment, which he already found at 50,000 capital from refinance of his home, he has to expect his real estate investment to give him an average of 10% return each year. So this is an expectation, which is quite reasonable based on the cash flow and appreciation of the investment. 10% return each year on his cash investment. Then his total cash investment must be 10 times of his retirement expenses after 25 years. So after 25 years, his every year expenses 80,000 ringgit. So that is only 10% return from the entire portfolio of his investment. So we can estimate from here, after 25 years, he must be able to have a portfolio or investment which is worth 800,000, 10 times or 80,000 ringgit. So in other words, James has to double or pyramid his 50,000 original cash capital now into a total of 800,000 ringgit quickly in his portfolio over a 25 years period time.
Yeah.
So let's from here we are able to estimate how many times he has to double his investment based on this figure of now let's see how many times he must double his investment to reach the 800,000 from his capital 50,000. Okay, 1 time to 100,000, 2 times to 200,000, 3 times to 400,000, 4 times to 800,000. So from here, we are able to estimate. So he has to double his initial investment of 50,000 ringgit around 4 times over the next 25 years, or in other words, on average, once every 6.25 years. So on average, after every 6.25 years, he has to expect his initial investment to double of from his previous original value. In module 12, the last module of our course about pyramiding of your investment, we will see that this figure is not just only possible in real estate investment, but we should expect this kind of performance from our real estate investment. Minimum double, because I think if I'm not mistaken, minimum 5 years time we can expect our real estate to double one time. So that's on average. So in good time, maybe in 2 to 3 years time, you can see that. But in a slow market, maybe you can expect to wait longer. But on the average, I think in different countries, different areas also, we are able to expect an average about 5 years time. Okay, so now let's come to the last step of this method to set our investment goals. So at the last step, numbers of years that we expect this income to last, the income that we generate from our investment portfolio. So this brings James to the final step that estimating how many years he expects himself and his wife to use those funds. So he assumed that both him and his wife will live on another 25 years old, 25 years, or to the age of 85. To his age of 85, then his wife will be 84 years old. So this fact is important only if you intend to use up portion of your principal or savings each year. But in James' case, you can see that with a 10% annual return, his real estate will continue to appreciate, and he may never have to touch his principal or equity. If he's able to build a portfolio to 800,000 and the entire investment portfolio able to deliver an average of 10% annual return, that is able to meet his requirement of 80,000 ringgit every year after his retirement life. So for all indications, in James' case, he should have no problem at all to reach his financial goals, and the remaining the rest of his entire life after the retirement life, he can enjoy financial freedom and feel financially secure. So I think that is all for the 6 steps method. So we encourage you to go through this simple 6 steps, okay, using the spreadsheet that you're able to download, and then using the list that we have just show you using Jen as a number. You may want to add on or simplify it, then try the method of yourself. Right? See your present financial situation and factor in your financial goals, and then determine how much investment capital available to you, which you may counter check again with the module 3, what other options are available to you, and then decide the number of years until when you want to live off your investment. And based on that, we are able to project the annual income that we need to retire, or we need after so-called our financial freedom. When we enjoy financial freedom time, what are the amount of money that we need every year to be considered as financial freedom, and based on that, we determine the how many times of double that we require from our investment, so that you can build up that portfolio over the time frame that we expect. Okay, and then try to post your figures, your final figures in this page of the module, like some of our members already did, and post any questions or comments related to this module if you have any. So we welcome all kinds of questions and comments related to this module. I think that's all my presentation for this module.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ong. So,
Any question?
in fact, you make it very clear that we just have to go through that 6 steps
Yes.
to find actually what is the figure of our retirement needs, and then just by doing real estate investment alone, in fact, it can meet the requirement of our early retirement or any financial goal you want. And in fact,
Yes.
there are many kind of investment you can do: stock investment, property investment, and there are so many sexy investment right now. There are so
Yeah.
a lot of investment scheme and stuff. But if you have your investment objective clear, normally you won't be easily influenced by other people to do other type of
Yes.
investment. Even like if you're sticking to your objective right now, you know that certain type of investment can meet your investment goal. Certain type of properties that can meet your current situation and also your future needs. Uh, so I would say don't be want to be a Superman. You want to learn everything about investment and go do a lot of stuff. Go do trading, and then you go into business, and then you do property. But I would say just
Yes.
focus on one thing, and if you just focus on property investment alone, it can give you the thing that you want in life. In fact, it is really really true.
Yes, exactly. Just I mentioned earlier during this presentation, the, the key point is we must be patient enough. And before we start any investment, why it's so important to have a goal? It's for us, it's a target for us to aim. And we have to have the principle to stick on it, no matter
Yeah.
how the environment change, no matter how people around us say. But we know what we want. We know where we are heading to. So just focus on that and you're able to reach it eventually. Just give it some time
Yeah.
and you already know from the 6 step method, you already know how far away from the target and how possible or how viable the existing investment in real estate able to bring us there. So just have that kind of confidence. Of course, sometimes our confidence will be influenced by people. Some people may be distracting you with a better investment. So we have to think back ourselves. If you're okay with our path right now, with our pace right now towards our target, it's okay. We are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I like about property is that when you can get a property, you can find a property that is worth financing, is co-finance property, then
Mm-hmm.
it kind of turn into a very passive kind of investment, because you don't have to monitor the
Yes.
price like in daily basis, unlike when you invest in
Yes.
stock. No matter what is the method you use, you will normally check on the price, up or down, or there's some news, you will definitely go and see,
Yes. Yes.
but property, normally you don't do that. You don't, like, every month you go and check what are people selling or buying at what kind of
Yeah.
price.
Yeah.
Normally you just do it once a year or 2 years,
Yeah.
just so it's kind of,
Occasionally. Yeah.
yeah, occasionally. So I like the fact about it is it is really really kind of very passive income, and passive kind
Yeah.
of investment. And when you do get a property, and when you do get a tenant, they will normally sign at least 12 months, and you don't have to worry
Yeah.
for like 12 months if it is handled correctly.
Yeah, even got anything, just leave it to the agents or dedicated professionals to help you to settle the things.
Yeah.
Unless we are like those people like maybe really interested in the trading of stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Some people they may find it quite interesting to see every day. But
Yeah.
I think most of the people we would like to have more time to enjoy the retirement life. We want to have our own time to do other
Mm.
things, like our hobbies, or go traveling or whatever, instead of just concentrate, spend most of our time to look for money. So that's why I think in my second slide I already show is the definition of investment goal. I think agreeable by most of the people is we hope that we no need to worry about how or we no need to so-called have any worry to look for money and spend most of our time to worry about that when we have and when we are able to enjoy financial freedom in our retirement life.
Yeah.
So I think this is what a property investment or a real estate investment are able to deliver to us.
Yeah, one thing we need to clear about property investment is also, it require hard work. You really need to go out and look at the property. So and
Mhm.
you need to talk to a lot of people. Normally you'll meet a lot of agents.
Yeah.
You need to talk to the seller, the lawyers and the bankers, and there are a lot of
Yeah.
people involved in a transaction. So unlike other type of investment, probably you just meet the agent and then sign and that's it. But for property, you will need to expect that, and the more homework you do, the more
Better
chances you have.
control.
Yeah, the better chance and the
Yes.
better control you have to find a really really good buy. So,
Yes.
but of course, we provide you all the tools here with the Go Finance online web-based application where you can bring it with you anywhere, anytime, and
Yeah. To
use the account.
simplify the hard work. Yeah.
Yeah, so in fact, we have provide you the convenience to do so. So what you need to do is don't just uh, do a survey around your neighborhood, invest it, buy one or two properties near your place, and then later on you move on to some other area, just for
Yeah.
diversification sake. Yeah.
Like I always tell my friend, enjoy the process. Look around, just like you go window shopping like that. Slowly take your time and slowly assess, slowly evaluate whether the price is correct. Enjoy the scenery, enjoy the neighborhood, enjoy
Mm.
the ride.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even for like family people, you can easily do this. Instead of
Yeah.
bringing your son or your children to shopping mall during weekend, you can bring them to look at houses, look at new neighborhood. You know,
Yeah.
you can ask their experience, their opinion on certain area. Let's say you go to look at an apartment, you can
Yeah,
ask them.
and you'll be surprised when you bring kids along, they'll learn a lot from you. That's my experience. I
Yeah,
like to bring kids along to go and look for all
look
this
for
kind of
properties.
opportunity. Yes, and along the way we are able to discuss. And you're surprised that the question that they ask.
Hmm.
Sometimes you think that, how can it come up from a 10 years old boy? Yeah, and it's a chance of for family gathering
Yeah.
for family members to interact and also to learn from each other.
So instead of teaching your children how to spend money in the shopping mall, you can teach them how to make investment instead. So make it a
Yeah,
fun process.
especially let them start from young, recognize the fact of inflation. What is inflation? Most of the even adults don't understand that inflation is around us and is
Yeah.
threatening our life. And how does it happen?
Yeah, and then they will learn from you your investment objective as well. Why do you want to buy these houses? For the education and stuff. So I guess
Yeah.
it's a very good learning process for your children. Anyway,
Yes.
is there any question you want to pose to us in the chat box right now? If not, we are going to close this webinar very soon. So I'll give you just a few minutes to type in the question if you have any. And
If you
Dr.
don't have
Ong,
any question right, yeah,
yeah, sorry, I
no,
cut you a little bit. Can we do the next module on next Wednesday? Is it possible?
I think should be okay. Should be fine with me.
Okay, good. So there's a question from Brian. How much is the legal and brokerage fee in Malaysia? Because Brian is from Brunei.
Oh,
Rough figure.
okay. Legal and brokerage fee, I think you can find in from the application, the Go Finance. We normally put from 3 to 4.5, and it should not exceed 5% of your purchase price. So that is just a guideline for you to factor in the cost of legal. So normally, even if you have a finance, you need to pay for the legal cost for finance, the loan. Okay, so normally I think 5% should be a very conservative guideline for you to estimate the cost for legal.
So
But for
5% of the
the
purchase price.
that's for maximum lah. I think maximum up to 5%. It's a guideline lah for legal. So when we say legal, it include S&P, sale and purchase agreement, and also loan if you take out the finance. Then for brokerage, in the market now standard is should be 1%, but some may be up to 2%. It depends on the negotiation between the agents. And for some cases, I think sometimes even like for example, if you buy from developer, sometimes developer will absorb the brokerage also.
Yeah, normally it save a lot from if you're buying from developer. That's how they sell their properties also lah. They absorb the legal
Yes.
fees and stuff, and you don't have to pay the
Yeah.
stamp duty upfront yet. wait until
But the most important is
Yeah.
bear in mind all these costs, legal costs, brokerage costs, the agent's fee, the commissions are all negotiable. Yeah, it's not fixed in the market. So it's not fixed by the so-called the lawyer or whatever. So it's able to talk. You're able to talk to the lawyer, you're able to talk to the agent, you can negotiate on all this. Don't be shy to negotiate. It's okay. You just comfortably ask them
Yeah.
the so-called the reasonable cost.
Yes, Brian. The Dr. Ong is referring to the legal fees or brokerage fees that's negotiable. But stamp duty is not negotiable. It's a
Yeah,
fixed.
of course.
So, any other question? If not, we are going to close the. Okay. There's another question from Brian. Is it still possible to get 8% rental yield now in Malaysia?
I would say quite difficult really.
Yeah, quite difficult.
Since 2 years back, it's already quite rare to get 8%. So I think that's why whenever we have anything above 6% now, we will share with you. So 6% to us now is considered quite good return. So 8%, I cannot say they totally don't care, unless we really 100% know all the properties in Malaysia. So, but we still have the confidence we're able to find good deals these days. It's only that we have to spend more time, spend more effort, and to discover all these gem among those around us.
Yep. So and also some people, they think that buying directly from developer, probably when it is the time it is mature, you can get high rental yield, but it is never we are never going to know about that. So normally if you are going for sub sale, will be still safer lah, in a way, if you are
Yes.
aiming for rental yield.
Those are completed project. For those not completed project, you have to based on your own judgment, and also have to evaluate all the possible risks in future. So the neighborhood, who is going to be your neighbors there, who is going to be what other infrastructure around the project in future, how will it affect the so-called quality of life of residents there. So all this have to factor in. So we have to gather more information before we buy a new project.
Another question from Brian: does flipping opportunity still works now in Malaysia with the gain tax imposed?
This question is a bit tricky, but I think the standard answer is there is always opportunity of flipping, even no matter how the market is, even down market, up market also, you are able to flip as long as you get the right price, you get the right buyers to buy your properties. All the expenses, all the costs that are even from the stamp duty, from the imposed by the government, the tax, people will just factor in their selling price.
Yeah.
As long as once they factor in their selling price, as long as they have a margin of profit and they can find the buyer willing to pay for it, you are already flipping it.
Yeah, so basically, when you, as you say they'll factor in all the costs, and
Yes.
of course there'll be less buyer to take up those properties, since if you are, let's say you are an investor, you buy it and you want to sell it for capital gain, but due to the property gain tax, your profit is reduced. So you're probably you want to sell it at higher price, then maybe you want to hold for a few years or something. So
Yes.
in this case, there will be less buyer. Yeah, there will be less buyer to take up, right?
Yes. If
So
you
it's
insist you
more
want to
difficult
have,
to play lah.
if you insist you want to sell at a certain profit, so probably you got to wait longer time. So I think we discussed this in the last module or the second last module about flipping also. One of the factors when you do flipping strategy, you must have the holding power.
Yeah.
So of course we prefer to flip as fast as possible in order to cut down the waiting time. But we have to get ourselves prepared. That's part of our cost also. We call it opportunity cost also. We must have that kind of opportunity cost for us to wait until we get the right buyers. So that's for flipping strategy.
Yeah, in fact there are a lot of opportunity costs involved, because you has used up your credit to borrow money, right? If your property is still stuck there, not generating cash flow, and you're still waiting for it to sell, then you don't have money to buy the next property. So for flipping, it will be as fast as possible. So I can see that a few years back, a lot of people making a lot of money from flipping strategy. But nowadays, you have to be really, really picky about your properties, and it's not guaranteed to work in the coming years.
You have to be more cautious these days.
Yep. So I guess we don't have any more question. So thank you for logging in, and we will have the next session coming up soon.
Next, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Ong.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.